Hello YouTube and welcome to episode 2 of the Fragrance Runners Ultimate series. In this episode I'm going to be going over my top 10 most complimented fragrances for summer nights. And the first episode was met with a lot of positive reviews. I'm looking to keep the momentum going. I'm so glad you guys are enjoying the series, whether you're new or returning. Definitely leave any comments and thoughts below and let's dive right into it. Kicking off the list at the number 10 spot, you have the Armani Code EDT line and all its variants. I will always preach. You spray Armani Code, any of them, and you will smell like the coolest guy in the room. I have Armani Code Ultimate, Colonia, Ice, and the regular EDT right there. So why am I choosing the EDT over the PROFUMO variants? Well, one, because it's summer night and you are dealing with the heat still, even though daytime is gone. The PROFUMO and just the perfume versions like an Absolute, they are a bit heavier. They do have a more concentrated silage cloud. So the EDTs are just perfect for that tone, for that balance. And they are a great example of being sexy through being subtle. So if you're wondering or questioning the use of Armani Code in 2019, just keep in mind that for a fragrance to launch so many flankers consistently, it's because it's selling well. And you'd be surprised about what fragrances are loved on the internet that are getting discontinued because they're not selling well, versus a fragrance like this that seems so tried, done and done. However, it is still on some crazy momentum in terms of sales. So Armani Code EDT is a fragrance that you can still go out there, style and profile on the people and be confident in your fragrance. Still one of the smoothest leather-based scents in designer fragrancy today. So Armani Code is just perfect to kick off the list, get you guys in the right kind of set of mind. We're looking for cool, dark, edgy, subtle, but just not overwhelming, and a fragrance that doesn't take itself too seriously. Armani Code, the EDT line, fantastic for that. Coming up next to show you how strong the list is going to be probably the king of club scents, and that's Jean Paul Gaultier's ULTRAMALE, the playboy of the Jean Paul Gaultier line. The fragrance as a whole exudes a fresh, spicy cotton candy vibe, and women love it oh so much. And within the recent years, this has been kind of asserting itself on the throne for fragrances that just kind of, you know, are perfect in terms of performance, in terms of attention grabbing with sweet composition playing off the spice, and it projects really well. Just one kind of application of this, not one spray, just your initial application should be enough to carry you throughout the night. You don't have to refreshen up or anything like that. And ULTRAMALE, just to give you some context, ULTRAMALE doesn't sell as well as the original Lamel in stores. This guy is still building a momentum, and recently it has been seen in discounters. However, it is getting, you know, a second wind to flourish just because the masses are starting to get put onto it. However, if you are new to the fragrance game, or if you only kind of associate the internet fragrance game, the internet perspective with the real world, understand that most of the common public, the common consumer, has not been put on to the scent DNA. So there's still plenty of time to go out there and introduce it to the masses. ULTRAMALE, a fantastic scent. I cannot understate it. It has given me some of my best times, one of my, you know, most complimented scents, just because, you know, I wore it a lot. My bottle's almost done, but it does the job. ULTRAMALE is a powerful tool in your arsenal of fragrance. So keep it in mind if you ever are looking to branch into that sweet scent. If you're not a fan of sweet scents, I could definitely understand that this fragrance is not for you. Just move on to another fragrance that suits you better. You know, don't spend too much time dabbling on whether or not ULTRAMALE is for you. If you like it, wear it, great. If you don't, move on, that's fine too, guys. They're all winners. That's what you gotta understand in fragrances. The point of fragrance is that you're using a tool, not to use the best tool, the sharpest knife. Just make sure you know how to use the tool to begin with before you start elevating to, you know, just the crazy sharpest knives in your arsenal. And coming in at the number 8 spot, you got Givenchy Play Intense. Warm, soothing, inviting. Play Intense is a seriously sweet fragrance that hones the art of a rich, dark, seductive scent. To try to get you an idea what this fragrance smells like, if you're familiar with Rochas Man or Jordan Legend, this is like the bridge to those guys. So with Rochas Man, you get that raspberry cappuccino blend. Jordan Legend, you have the anise playing off the, you know, coffee notes. This one is bergamot, vetiver. It takes it a little bit deeper, patchouli, tonka, mixed with the coffee notes, and it's awesome. It's a more grown, mature formula, a little bit darker, but more grown and mature than these two. So if you really like these two and you're looking to just kind of elevate it a little bit further, you know, kind of get a little bit more sophisticated, a little bit more class, elegance, maturity, all of that in your fragrance, Givenchy Play Intense is excellent for that, and such a great fragrance because it does perform longer than these two, and it gets the compliments, it gets the job done, it hits. It's a really good scent that captures the sensuality of nighttime very well. So taking in the number 8 spot, you got Givenchy Play Intense, an awesome fragrance right there. Now coming in at the number 7 spot is a fragrance that broke my heart, and that's because it was discontinued recently in stores. However, just because a fragrance is discontinued doesn't mean it's still not in circulation. It just means that production on it has stopped. Taking in the number 7 spot, you got Polo Red Intense. Polo Red Perfected. The original scent DNA beefed up to eau de parfum. Its vibrant opening draws many in, but the dry down is perfection. And Polo Red Intense I absolutely love. Just in terms of the red line, it did revitalize the Polo line, especially with Polo Blue. That was tried, true, done and done, so a lot of people were getting bored with it. But this brought back a lot of interest just because it was a seriously interesting scent DNA. And it just does it very well. You get the cranberry, the spice, the coffee, all of it just playing off each other wonderfully. Very well blended composition right here. Compared to the normal red, this does start out, you know, more explosive, more potent. However, it's the dry down that you gotta be keen to because it is gonna outperform red while still drying down to that scent DNA. And especially in terms of, I guess, the questionability of fragrance performance, usually that trade-off between an explosive opening that puts some people off, if you're patient and let it dry down, I promise you will probably find that you like the fragrance better because it settles down to that scent DNA you love and then it lasts. So if you could power through that explosive opening that puts some people off, you may just find a fragrance you absolutely adore in Polo Red Intense. And maybe, just maybe, we could bring back some love to this fragrance to get the, you know, the marketer's attention that, hey, this is a good fragrance and we loved it. So taking the number 7 spot again, Polo Red Intense. Taking the number 6 spot is personal favorite, always, La Nuit de Leon. If James Bond wore a fragrance, no. If James Bond were a fragrance, he'd be La Nuit de Leon. This fragrance is cardamom perfected, supported by rich bergamot and vetiver. Now the reason I chose this over the other YSLs is because it still has that class and elegance to it. It is still that fragrance that you know James Bond would wear. It is amazing. It is seductive, sensual, crisp, professional, refreshing because it still has that bergamot, vetiver, and lavender in there. However, it's the cardamom in there that is king. Cardamom is king in this scent and it's made it one of the modern day kings of fragrances. La Nuit de Leon, still after the reformulation, is a beloved, mass appealing, mass selling scent that still sells like a monster and people are being put onto it every day. With kind of the fragrance game being so concentrated and you have so many options, it is amazing to see how this fragrance still sells even after a reformulation and even after the internet attacked it for such, because the scent DNA is that good. It impresses people when they first smell it, and the dry down is wonderful. You know, the lavender and the vetiver just play really, really well off that cardamom still from the top. So La Nuit de Leon will always have a place for me in my arsenal, taking in the number 6 spot. Well deserved. Alright guys, we're in the second half and now is when things get intense. This is the top 5 right here of my most complimented scents for the list. And taking the number 5 spot is a fragrance that I got recently. I was running it a lot before through samples and wearing it in the store and stuff like that when I used to work in fragrance. However, I finally picked up a bottle because I found it at a really great price for around $26, and since getting it, I have been wearing it non-stop. It has been getting me compliments non-stop, and that's Valentino's UOMO ACQUA. This fragrance has earned me many enthusiastic compliments this summer. A stunning fresh iris scent that ladies absolutely love. Now to speak on this fragrance a bit, you do get that burst of a juicy fresh opening from the tomato in there that just keeps it very live, very bright, very fresh. However, the iris in here is done perfect for a summer night because it doesn't over dominate the smell. It just blends in completely well. It lingers in the air from beginning to end, and performance has been kind of criticized online. However, this is just one that a few extra splashes will get the job done. Looking back at traditional Aqua scents, they've always been like that. The FSF Aqua, you know, even in Aqua de Joe, has always been to remind you of a fragrance that you just want to splash on heavy and just be good with it. You know, if you take it to that conservative kind of spray routine, you're probably not gonna get the performance you want. Just don't be afraid to spray a little bit heavy, especially if you got this fragrance at the $26 rate that I got it at, because it's worth it. It's worth it to get that perfect aura around you. The aura of excellence is something I am always trying to get my audience to achieve. Through that is just practicing your spray routine to know what works and what doesn't. You do have to experiment yourself because everybody's composition and chemistry is different, or the fragrance composition is different while playing off of everybody's unique chemistry. So do understand that you do have to experiment yourself to find that perfect balance. However, UOMO Aqua, the first compliment I got in it was when I went to a little, EDM concert, shout outs to Jansen, and I sprayed up in the bathroom right when I got there because I didn't spray before I got home, and man, everybody just went crazy. They were like, damn, that guy smells really good. My friends came up to me immediately like, damn, you smell really fresh. And yeah, same thing at work. When I got the bottle and started wearing it at work, all my lady co-workers loved it. They loved it. Iris is just one of the most mass appealing fragrance notes, and when done right, it just hits. So UOMO Aqua is just a perfect balance, a perfect aqua scent that, no, it's not gonna last 6, 7, 8 hours. However, for those 4 or 5 hours, and I get that 4 or 5 hours by spraying, a couple extra sprays, it doesn't hurt. But it's worth it, man. I'm telling you, UOMO Aqua will get you love. And in terms to compare it to the other UOMO or UOMO Intense, those are better suited for the fall, which is why this guy is making the list for summer nights. Taking in the number 5 spot, you got Valentino's UOMO Aqua. Taking in the number 4 spot is a fragrance that was one of my most complimented for 2018. And interestingly enough, I put it in my fall video, but it was during the summertime that I began really taking it seriously. I got it in around 2016 and I just kind of let it rock. But take that fragrance, let me just go ahead and show it, is Black Excess. One of my secret weapons, Black Excess. Women adore the smell of woods on a man. The ebony wood underneath the sweet opening makes this entrant very well received. And this is one of the original fragrances that you could do, the fun little cap close thing. And another pro tip is that people have been confused by how to spray this fragrance. They'll say that the thing gets in the way. The idea is to point the atomizer away from the cap, so you're gonna be spraying like that, kind of like with the cap not facing against you. So to talk about the fragrance a bit, it does have this strawberry kind of smell, sweetness in the opening. It doesn't have any strawberry in the composition from what I read, and it dries down to a nice cardamom, amber, ebony wood combination, and it is amazing. It has that sharp, woody, piney note underneath the whole sweet strawberry opening, and people absolutely love it. It's fresh, it's sexy, it's mass appealing. And for some people, they may be put off because, let's face it, strawberry sweetness is not the most popular thing in fragrance. However, for those of you that do find that you do indeed synergize with this fragrance, you'll probably absolutely love it like I did. Just because it got me compliments everywhere. It got me compliments when I sat next to people in cars, when I went to restaurants, when I went out, when I was just chilling casually. This thing was just an easy mode fragrance that maybe you just want to put on a black tea that day and keep it chill and humble. Black Excess will do the rest of the job to give you that nice kind of clean, just a clean essence, a clean vibe, a clean aura, and that's what we're looking for at the end of the day. Just a simple fragrance that you don't have to think too much about when using. Taking in the number 4 spot, you got Black Excess, a very underrated gem from the Paco Rabanne line. Great performance and projection as well. Alright guys, it's time for the bottom 3, and taking in the number 3 spot, you got Hugo Boss Private Accord, one of the best fragrances Hugo Boss offers. The cacao in this is a must smell. Blended with his signature ginger, reactions have been overwhelmingly positive. This is a fragrance that's another recent addition to my fragrance collection. However, when I was running before that, just to test it out, and I finally decided to pick up a bottle because it has been so well received in my world. This is such a powerful scent right here. Not in terms of silage, performance, or anything like that. It's a powerful scent in terms of, I guess, mass appeal and how people love it. To compare it to the original scent, Hugo Boss, the scent, that might be a little bit confusing for some. However, this is like this fragrance perfected. And the dark chocolate or the chocolate notes in here is like a rougher chocolate note. It's found in the base. However, it protrudes all the way to the top. From the opening to the dry down, you're gonna be smelling it, and it is done so soft, so smooth, so pleasant. It just draws people in. The concentration on this is still eau de toilette, and I love that about this fragrance. It did not need to be an eau de parfum, and when rocking it, you know, you don't have to worry so much. You could wear this during the summer daytime if you want to spray a little bit farther away and maybe spray a little less. However, for summer nights, my goodness, this is an excellent fragrance right here that is going to set you up perfectly going into the fall time. So you could easily, you know, synergize that fragrance for both of those seasons, and you're going to be great. You're going to be in great hands. Hugo Boss The Scent Private Accord is easily one of the best releases this year, and it's bringing the Hugo Boss line back. It's giving it the respect it deserves, because the scent was a scent that I really liked. However, it didn't get that much love. Private Accord just kind of made me see why. It's because the fragrance could have been done even better, and it certainly was. So taking in the number 3 spot, you got the Scent Private Accord, one that I definitely hope you guys seek out and try. And just kind of a pro tip, I bought this for $90 at the department stores, but immediately afterwards I eBayed it, and you can pick it up for around the 40s on eBay. So, you know, think about it. Now, taking in the number 2 spot is a fragrance that I have shown some love to it before. However, for summer nights, I have underestimated how powerful, how mass appealing this fragrance actually is. Just because while it is tried and true and done, it still deserves the respect that it garners, because this fragrance right here is probably a fragrance that so many people know about. However, the common public still being introduced to it just still blows my mind. And that's Versace EROS, the godfather of party scents. Still adored to this day. A cherry vanilla vibe that hones seduction while maintaining an aura of elegance and maturity. People get put onto Versace EROS each and every day anew, and in 2019, and it blows my mind. It really does. It's still outperforming EROS Flame. It outperforms a lot of the Versace line in terms of sales. This is Versace's kind of golden boy right now, even more so than Dylan Blue. Dylan Blue is still new to the point that it's going to take a couple more years to determine whether it is going to become the backbone of the Versace line. However, for now, that is pretty much Versace EROS. It is being massively sold, and yet there's still a massive influx of new consumers getting put onto the fragrance. Why? Because this is darn near the best clubbing scent to have ever existed. And the original idea behind this was to create a mature, formal scent that has that aura of excellence. It has like this cherry vanilla sweetness to it, and somehow that translated to just one of the best clubbing scents ever. Girls love it, guys love it, and it's got me some of the most enthusiastic compliments as well. I wore this fragrance a lot back in 2016, 2017, and wearing it now again this year just reminded me of how much I absolutely do love EROS. I adore EROS. It's a fragrance scent DNA that you can never go wrong with. And I know it's done on the internet, I know, guys, but introduce it to your family, to your personal friends, to the common public around you, and I promise they will love it. Because you gotta remember, I preach this so much, the internet is not the real world. You guys gotta learn to separate the two. Use the internet to fuel your real life fragrance usage. So if you know your best friends, your crowd, anything of the sort have not been accustomed to EROS, don't knock it off just because it's so popular on the internet. Use it to introduce it to your friends, or maybe even suggest it to one of your friends and elevate them that way. Because every time I get someone coming up to me saying, hey, have you tried Versace EROS? Do you love it? I'm like, yeah, man, I know, good stuff. And I'm really glad to hear that people are still enjoying it to this day. Honestly, I love to hear it. So yeah, taking in the number 2 spot is Versace EROS. Easily one of the most celebrated fragrances that you could use during summer nights and leading up into fall time as well. So good, so great. Alright guys, time for the number 1 spot. When conducting this list, I had a lot of factors going into it. You know, the history of the fragrances, whether it was good for clubbing, things like that. And there was a lot of fragrances and brands that just kind of went through my mind to put at the number 1 spot. However, there was one fragrance that I realized, not only have I never ranked it in a video, whether it was unranked or ranked, I just haven't put it in a spot. It never took any spot in my list, so this is the first time in the channel it's actually officially appearing. And let's dive into it. So as with the first episode of the Ultimate series, I'm going to end it just the same. I am going to hype this fragrance, properly so, well deserved, and then I'm just going to end the video right there, leaving you to process all that information. Alright guys, the number 1 fragrance. It's a fragrance that's a flanker to the original, where the original had about 25 notes and it was eau de toilette. This one has about 5 and it's eau de parfum. It takes the fragrance DNA, the scent DNA, and simplifies it just in the most masterful way, where it removes a lot of the stuff and still keeps it the core of the fragrance true to itself. This is a fragrance that's an easy mode compliment getter, and in terms of fresh fragrance, one of the best performing fragrances in the designer market. It's a fragrance that gets so much love, especially given the fragrance is a flanker of, it's to be expected. This is a fragrance right here that is a powerhouse that you could reliably wear, leaving your house at 8 p.m. and come home at 4 a.m. still smelling fresh and amazing. It is a fragrance that I will reach out for the chance of walking by someone and making him think, good God, how can a man smell so fresh? The number one fragrance, the ultimate fragrance for summer nights, is gonna be Armani's ACQUA di Gio Profumo.